Our High River's first community cafe of the fall. We're really excited that you're here. There is postcards on the tables that have our next dates, and we're hoping that you'll put them into your day planner and join us for future cafes. As everything in our world now revolves around the greatest survey of all time, the vital signs, we will turn to page 4 tonight. Thanks, Shelley. That's why we're such a fun team. And when we talk to the community about the importance of connection, 84% agreed or strongly agreed that it is every citizen's duty to engage in activities that strengthen the community. And one of those, of course, is voting. Another, of course, is taking that next step into possibly being a part of our council and moving forward. And I feel like we know it's an election year because all of council showed up to the first cafe at the same time. It's so great. And I love you for it. No, so I'm going to be taking attendance in the future cafe. In all seriousness, we're really excited for that. And there's a really cool opportunity for the community to maybe take that next step and maybe become, the next sort of leadership team that we have. And so we invited the town of High River to be a part of our cafe tonight so that we could help to, increase the education around that. Because sometimes if you think about running for council, maybe it seems a little daunting. Maybe you're not exactly sure what those next step looks like. So we're going to myth bust a little bit. Yeah. Probably should have just
say it 3 times fast.
That is cool. I passed my probationary review today, everybody, so I'm going to continue this role for a little bit longer, so it's good. So that's what we're going to do. So we have some current council and our mayor here tonight. If you guys want to come on up here, we're going to put you on the hot seat a little bit. Surprise! And our returning officer, Kara Rusk, is also here, so we're going to drag her up to the front with us. And anyone else that wants to join her.
I've got to sit straighter.
The acting town manager, he doesn't like me very much, but he's more than welcome to come.
Hey, scooch up beside you.
Smiley Riley, do what you gotta do.
Mayors don't do much, right?
They don't really do it. They show up for free food. It's so exciting. You accidentally say something on Facebook Live and you just never live it down. Okay, Chris. It's all good. So, I have a few questions from citizens just wanting to know. And this is super casual, just if you had questions, if you're wondering what it's like to get on council, here's your opportunity to get it right from the horse's mouth. Yeah, our little daggone horses. So, one question that the community has is, what are the time commitments to be on council? Whoever would like to answer.
You made these up, didn't you?
No, I can't write that deep.
Well, we've all kind of got different roles, but I'll speak to kind of broad spectrum instead of how this is, but definitely 100% different than it has been the last 4 years, what your time commitment will be. The last 4 years we've been having, well, the first 2.5 years was weekly Monday meetings, just to get through the decisions that we had to make to get there, but we're kind of more back to standard council procedure, which is council meetings where we actually make decisions is every second Monday throughout the year, other than a couple of months in the summertime we have one meeting. For myself, as the mayor needs to kind of have a little bit more flexibility than council to be able to run over the town office. I've got a lot more contact directly with our CAO and my mom over here that keeps me in check. That's my joke here that keeps me out of jail. So I have that. The mayor has to have more flexibility to run back and forth, whether you're job or whether if you're retired, like Neil was. He spent a lot of time over there. But as far as council goes, maybe less time, but at the end of the day, there's a lot more, committees that they have to attend. you could have 3 or 4 committee meetings once a week that Bruce loves. Bruce can't get enough of it, but at the same time, my big thing is that we all have lives. These are part-time jobs over at the town. Last 4 years, much different, of course. We all had to commit high priority to what we were doing. Now it's a little bit different. But for myself, I'm pretty structured as to where my priorities are. Number 1 is my family, number 2 is my business, number 3 is the town. That's just the way it is. Everybody's got their own lives that we all respect, and you can't sell your soul to the town, or you're not doing the right job for everybody. But really, you can put in as much time as you really want and being involved as things as you want. It's critical, I think. The big point is to be making decisions the right way for the greater good of the community and not looking at self-interest or one specific person or other group's interest that you're getting swayed from. So that's where I'm proud to say with the council that I've had for the last 4 years is I think we've done a great job of keeping that in check, because there's lots of ways we can always be bold. So that's mine.
If you feel it, go for it.
Okay.
If you don't feel it, pass it.
Time commitments are really, as Fred said, they're up to the individual person. You can spend as much or as little time as you want, but to really do the job, you really should be in quite a bit of time. Not that we like going to meetings, and when you do have a meeting, it might last 3 hours. Usually there's about 3 hours of preparation for that meeting, just reading, and sometimes the agendas are like 287 pages, things like that. But there are out-of-town meetings because we're part of a region, and the collaboration aspect is really beneficial when you can do things on an economy of scale, or to get a bunch of people involved instead of everybody doing their individual thing. I was in a meeting in Cochrane this morning that started at 8:30 and went until 2:30. So there's a lot of that kind of outside travel. But you usually, with all of the committees and other responsibilities, there are quite a few meetings. And then people always say, oh, you've only got 2 meetings a month. That's not so bad. And it's like you don't have to go to those meetings, and you don't have to go to council meetings, but you can only miss 2 in a row. And good luck. So it is usually when you run for election, you make a commitment to do that for the now before your term. It's only 3-year terms, but 4 years go by very, very quickly. So and it's kind of fun. But in addition to the meetings, there's all of the events and other things that you go to, and they're really fun. The opening up of a new business, or
200 of them.
Especially after the flood, get everybody reopening and ribbon cuttings and things. It's actually very, very enjoyable work, and you get to meet a lot of good people, and sometimes people are yelling at you, but it's far from your base. But
Good selling features.
I know.
Just giving you a hard time. Yeah.
But other than that, it's extremely enjoyable, and we all have a fun thing. the thing about, counselors too is that if you have a couple of ones that, don't want to work as hard, all of the others have to up their vote to pull the weight. And, if you have people that are fighting with each other actions of the counselors, it takes you a lot longer to get anything done. So the meetings get stretched out. We want this over. So it's great when you, as Rick said, when we had a team like we did at the last council, everything was much more efficient and consensus is reached very quickly.
I think the only thing I'll just add a couple of things. You need to enjoy reading. Maybe not enjoy it, but you need to be able to read a lot. And the other thing, I don't want the time commitment to scare you. When you look at this group that's up here, the only one that's retired is Emil. Bruce maybe you might consider a little bit, but yes, but Cindy. But we've all done it, and we did it a more aggressive schedule than anything else, and so it was very manageable. There's the odd week that you feel things are a little hairy, but really for the most part, it is manageable. So as much as it is a huge time commitment, it's doable, it's manageable. I encourage you, if your family needs to be on board, absolutely. Without them, I think it would be a really hard task to take forward.
How can I not say anything now?
Just give the mic back.
I'm not giving the mic back. So,
Artists always get
artists always get misunderstood, right? You know, you're a writer, suddenly you're retired. You teach it, say 2 days a week, suddenly you're retired. You know, so I wish, but I'm not. But one thing I did want to mention, quite seriously, is and Craig neglected to mention the ever popular town managers meetings at 1 o'clock, the day that we do meet every second Monday for council. We meet at council at 3 o'clock, but we meet the town managers meeting at 1 o'clock to discuss a bunch of things that we're not going to be talking about at council, just kind of updates on various things that the town's involved in. So it's really quite interesting, but that also is another time thing. And of course, once you get into budget, there's all kinds of budget meetings during the day and during the week and things like that. So definitely, I know somebody said to me before I decided to run that you have to commit to about 6 hours of reading the agenda for Monday, and I gotta tell you, I've never taken 6 hours to read that agenda. If it takes me 2 hours to read it and study it and make notes about questions I want to ask, that's a long time. So, but anyway.
I'm not gonna say anything because the mayor's glaring at me. No, if you put a number on it, I track the number. I run highway distillers in town, so I have a board of directors that I report to. So I was diligent about tracking time. So if you want an exact number, 17.5 hours is what I put in on a weekly basis. Now, some of those weeks have been very little, and some of those weeks have been a lot. But if you want a number, in my mind, when I was calculating, it was 17.5 hours. So look at it as a part-time job, a 20-hour-a-week thing. Depending on how much you go out into the community and participate in the, let's call them extracurricular events, the things that you should go out and be part of, to get out there and be with the people, because that's what we're serving. So we need to understand where the people are coming from. So that was the hard number. I wanted to throw that out. Kathy mentioned, managing your time. If you can manage a schedule, you can fit this in. Always have the support of your family. I have a young family at home, so for those of you that have that, you want to make sure they're on board with it. Otherwise, it's just going to fail from the start. So that's my 2 cents. Good.
One of the questions was, are counselors contractors or town employees?
They're actually neither. So as elected officials, they're governed by the Municipal Government Act and the the Local Authorities Election Act, which is what governs elections in Alberta. So they're not actually employees, they're accountable to each other. So basically, you know, when they're at council meetings, if they feel that somebody stepped outside of line, it's their job to keep each other in line.
We'll leave the smart questions. A couple of times this question was asked, how do you handle negativity or negativity on social media?
Here we go. Here we go.
She just said, be careful. Facebook's a sewer pit, so there's my 2 cents. I learned a lot about social media, and it has changed drastically over the last 4 years. When we first started, I used social media a ton, just because there was so much information out there, and we all wanted to, and Bruce and Kathy were very much involved in social media as well. That time, but you used to be able to have a conversation with people on social media. That's done and gone.
Good.
It does. And thank God Mary's not on Facebook. My Lord.
Never.
See, there's how I deal with the critics here. But you have to be very, very careful on social media. That's what we do. And the thing about social media now is that I think Bruce just experienced this recently, that people will bring something up, and it won't be the truth, it won't be factual, it's a rumor that comes out. Your life changes when you become an elected official. The way that people view you in this town, regardless of whether you're born and raised here, or like Gooey and I, or you're a little bit newer, they automatically, life is different. And it took me a long time to get used to that. I didn't get that for the first 2 or 3 years, but got a little better handle on it now. But when people post stuff that isn't the truth, and if it's, these are my views, if they post it on Facebook, it means nothing to me.
Good.
If you post it to my page, I will answer the question. If you post it anywhere else, I'm not going to find that stuff.
Good.
Even if you tag me in it, I'm going to tag myself. Don't do it on my personal page or anything. The problem is that when you hit these guys with facts and with rational thinking and what the truth actually is, they could care less. It's not what they're looking for. Bruce got told, this is just recently, right? Was it you or Kathy?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay, I'll make it up then. But it's happened to all of us. You'll answer something and then you'll get the response back, who asked you? When it's a town-based decision question, and those of us that are on the decision-making table, well, you'd think that they kind of accept that coming from us. No. The social media thing and the Facebook deal is very, very dirty. Like I said, it's a sewer pit in my mind anymore. And if you want to have conversations with us, the people that want to have those conversations, there's 1,000 ways to get a hold of us. We can be reached at the town. They've got all our cell phone numbers. We're on the website. Our emails are there. They get a hold of us, those that want to have the conversation.
Or write a letter and sign it.
Yeah, get letters dropped off at your office on a regular basis, in behind the sign if you're not there. Confidential and personal from Mary Campbell. You're great.
Well, if you
I
don't
need more
talk,
crab
right?
apple jelly. That's the only reason why I came here, Mary. Is I need more crab apple jelly. But you gotta be careful with it, and it's Facebook honestly ate me alive the first couple of years. It became very, very difficult on myself and my family, and I just finally was backed away from it because it was not constructive at all. You're trying to rationalize with people that have no desire to be rationalized with, so you gotta be careful where you're spending your time on social media. Best to just shut it up.
So you're unsure. So post more on Facebook? Okay, good. I think this question is kind of maybe sort of related in whether it's social media wise, but someone asked, how do you manage your private life in the community once you become a public figure?
Who wants this one?
My wife doesn't like when I go to the grocery store or almost anywhere else, especially with about 3 items on my list, because I'm often gone at least an hour. People want to engage you all the time, and I'm kind of a friendly guy. I'm personable. I like to talk to people generally, but when I'm out and about, I don't really want to get into a long conversation about streets or taxes. I'd love to, I'll meet with somebody if they want to set up a meeting, but just because you happen to run into me in Sobeys, it doesn't necessarily mean I have an hour to talk to you about things. And sometimes I've had to cut people off when I've given them a card and I've said, please phone me. And they hardly ever do. They hardly ever do. There are certainly things, I'm part of Rotary. I tell somebody the other night at Rotary waved me over and said, so tell me about the something to do with the town. And I just said, really, we're talking about this now? Like, this is not why I'm part of Rotary. Go to the United Church. Same thing sometimes happens until I started setting boundaries. And I'm pretty firm about it. And I'll talk to anybody, but not just because you see me at church or Rotary or on the street do I have time or inclination to talk to you about a big issue. So I think you just have to really be firm in setting your own boundaries, and otherwise, it's like social media. It just gets away on you, and suddenly your wife's in the car and you're not, and she's driving away. And so, anybody else?
I had a different situation in that I had a retail business and I couldn't hide. Sometimes you can run around the corners, but people would come in and say, I want you to put your counselor's hat on now. And so I eventually got that hat with counselor on it, and then I said, okay, this is I put it on. And especially the last 4 years was very, very important to a lot of people wanting to talk to somebody. And so I think you just have to be a listener. And so there was a kind of a, where you couldn't say, I don't have time for this or anything, because it was one of the most important things we did was listen. So in that case, there was really no division between private and personal. I don't have kids at home, so I got a little bit of extra time, and my wife probably appreciates not being around anyway. I shouldn't say that.
The secret to a good marriage.
Don't be home. The day after the election, I arrived in my office at the Hospital Foundation, and there was an in-and-out board. And it was Councillor Cooey out, Kathy Cooey in, Foundation Kathy in. And I think there was a concern from my executive director that there would be inundation at the door, in his lines, people complaining that their garbage wasn't picked up. That has not been the case. People have been very respectful. Certainly people have walked in and the little magnets have switched, and we've talked about council issues, but for the most part, people have been really respectful that is the place of business where I do business, and that's the hat I'm wearing then. And as I said, people have been respectful, and the foundation has been incredibly supportive of what I do, which I'm very thankful, because without their support, I wouldn't have been able to do this.
Very good.
Well, I think it's nice for people to know that they can set the boundaries from the get-go, and it's okay. And just a little public service announcement I'll throw out. If you're thinking of throwing your hat in the ring, speaking of social media, You might want to take a quick boo at what photos you have up on your page. Maybe make sure they're appropriate to be a community leader. Just throwing that out there, because maybe we don't think about that party picture. Yeah, anyway. Because you know what? As soon as it becomes official, honest to goodness, this world, they're going to Google you. They're going to Google your stuff. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Okay. Can Alberta government employees run for town council?
They can absolutely run. The only restrictions are actually around MLAs and MPs, and so they would actually, if there's an MLA or MP that is interested in running, they would have to resign that office before they could take the oath of office for council.
One oath at a time. Okay, that makes sense. Somebody else wondered what the travel expectations are. Is there much for travel?
Just you to Congress, yeah. I'm assuming.
I think I left town for council business 3 times in the last 4 years. Well, maybe more than that. Not very many, half a dozen maybe. You know, speaking, you know, up to Ottawa to speak and Cochrane to speak. I don't spend a lot of AUMA time like Dawn does, but yeah, no, there's not. I don't think it's. I think you just have to. Like what Bruce said, you have to define boundaries as to where your priorities are, and you know, the people will find you. They come to my home. They come to my business. They'll grab you at the farmer's market. That's a difficult place to go right now, but they'll find you, and you can't. You have to realize you can't just go to an event anymore. You can't just go and be.
You can't go in.
Yeah, you can't just be Craig from High River anymore, right? No, you're the guy that somebody can't find a parking spot and you took it from. So.
I think definitely Dawn does more travel than all of us. I have a meeting once a month, the Foothills Regional Emergency Management Commission. We meet in Okotoks. And that's it. And when you do travel, and I have to admit, my first couple of meetings, I dutifully put in my 38 kilometers round trip for whatever the mileage rate was, and because I thought, well, this is going to add up. It never added up, so I stopped doing that after 2 meetings, and because it's Okotoks. So, but Craig's right. We don't tend to go to a lot of AUMA stuff, Alberta Urban Municipalities Association. You know, for me, it happens during the school year, and I can't be there. So on the busy days, the best days. So.
Not really. I'm 10 months in, being the new guy. One time, Craig and I flew Blackie for a fiber meeting, I think it was. So yeah, travel is Don really is our guy. Don does some extensive travel with the committees he's on, and that's part of being a team, right? Everybody picks up their piece where they need to be. So as far as that travel and commitment thing goes, everybody finds their place. You get some direction when you first start. Craig gave me some committees to be on, and from there you find your places where you are. And if somebody can't fill a position at a certain time, we all back each other up. So, you know, say that Bruce can't make something, he might contact me and say, hey, I really can't do this, I'm out of town, I'm this, I'm that. We help each other out that way. So being part of a team, it's not an individual thing being a counselor, it's being part of a team, so we all take care of each other that way.
That's good. Great.
Yeah, I think that the reason that I do a lot of out-of-town meetings is because I'm free to do that. And a lot of people that are working or something can't do that. And they're out during the day. And so I get to do that. I get a lot of trips to the landfill. That's the highlight of my week. Because I've been on the landfill commission for 10 years now. And I even have a street named after me in the landfill. So that's probably my greatest claim to fame.
Well, here I thought it was because you were the best looking, best dressed one. We're the one that you want to go and have the face of High River out in the other communities. Look at how good looking we are in High River. So we've talked about some of the reality pieces, which I think is great. What about when it comes to, you know, taking this step to be on council is a big commitment, and it's one we could maybe call the ultimate step into community service. How have you felt, you know, giving back to the community in this kind of way has been beneficial and or changed your life?
Yeah, it does change your life, but when you're in it for the right reasons, there is no better feeling, especially right now for those of us, when we can come downtown, knowing the absolute hell we went through to get here. It was not easy at all, and those are the kinds of things that you've got to look at as these long-term strategy and visionary pieces to it as to what you're doing, because that's really what council's job is. Administration pulls off everything that we kind of set in place for them, but when I come downtown now and see this community, I can't be more prouder of where we're at with this place and how beautiful it looks down here, how innovative it is, daring to be different, doing it better, all these things that we embraced from day one and building High River back. It makes me very, very proud as to where we're at. And it was not an easy task. The last 4 years were extremely hard. It's just the way it is. But you put your hand up because we love this place. It's fun. I've always liked being on the decision end of things and being behind that bench. It's a very, very fulfilling thing at the end of the day. But there's a lot of grinding it out, and there's a lot of hard conversations, and there's a lot of hard public stuff. And the only thing I will say with Kelsey in the room and Jody, the work that Jody did beforehand, we are very, very fortunate in this town to have the press that we do. They are not press that wants to stir things up and make everything negative and make things big. They're very, very positive and very fortunate because it makes our life a lot easier. But you grind it out, you make good decisions for the greater good of the community, you enjoy it, you love it, and you reap the rewards of it at the end of the day. So that's why I like it.
What's the question again?
I wanted you to say something positive about how much you enjoyed giving service in this way.
Okay, I think as anybody who volunteers knows that it is a great, great feeling to be doing something and benefiting people, and it benefits yourself. All of the people that I've met over the last few years, that's really invaluable, because that's what it's all about, I guess. It's the people. And